Howdy folks, it's Adriel, the hunting gear guy. I've got about 1,000 rounds through my WS MCR, some of them in matches, some of them not, and I thought I'd give it a cleaning. I don't think it needs a cleaning, but I thought I would clean it anyways, do some content for you guys, and crush a beer or two. So first things first, magazine's out, and chamber is empty, so we're clear to clean this thing out. I don't have any mags around me, nothing loaded or anything like that, so I'm clear to open up a fine PC Light beverage. And let's get cleaning this thing. All right, before we get too far, I will list the tools that you need over here so that you've got them for this. Depending on how your cross pins in here, you might be able to push these in by hand, or you might need something kind of pokey just to push those through, just to get them started. So I'm going to push that guy open. And then I'm just going to push this forward, get our recoil springs out. Let's grab our bolt. And we just need to push it all the way to that spot there. And then out she comes. Just going to put these off to the side for now. Now, personally, I like to use these blue paper towels. They just hold together a little bit better. And they're a little bit more durable. They don't leave like little flecks of white kind of all over your stuff, which I find the white paper towels do. So just pulling that spring off from the rear, giving this a quick wipe. It doesn't look particularly dirty, like it's black, but it's not like full of carbon or anything like that. And these look okay. And you can see that there's not really a heck of a lot of wear on there, not bad at all. The finish is worn off the back of here. Yeah, it's fine though. Like, because the carbon is contained kind of in the piston on these things, they shouldn't need to be cleaned very often. And when you do clean them, they should be pretty straightforward. Let's just go ahead and put this down so we've got something. Now, my cross pin is no longer a roll pin because I replaced mine, so I'm just going to scooch that out of there. Where's my pick? Oh, I don't have my pick handy. There's my pin out, my firing pin. Now my cam pin will come out and the bolt will come out as well. This bolt, the back of it shouldn't really be dirty at all, and it's not. It's pretty clean there. The front of it, there's a lot of brass flakes on that front there. I'm just going to get this. This is like a real Avid tool for like an AR. It's got a couple of different scraping profiles here. This flat one I find handy for like AR bolt faces. Now we might as well clean the extractor and just remove it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press on the side of the extractor here. I'm going to push that pin in. Let's see how tough it is. Maybe it won't go out that way. Let's try the other way. That's going to go out that way. And there's the extractor pin there. And the extractor comes off. And we can see we have a spring and pogo on this one. No donut, but maybe that's all right. I didn't seem to have any issues with this. Like I saw in some of the WKs. There's still some brass in there. See that? A little bit of brass going on in there. And here's where your pipe cleaners are come in handy as well, because these can kind of clean some of those recesses that are difficult to get to. And then you can fashion yourself little makeshift cleaners to get some of these areas. You might get bits of fuzz. Just try to get those out. All right, that's cleaned off. Let's get this extractor. I'm just getting that extractor groove scraped out. And you can see there's some crud that has been accumulating in there. You shouldn't have to do this very often. This would be like maybe every couple thousand rounds kind of a thing, if that. And that looks nice and clean to me. Just going to get the hole a bit there. Now back to this bolt. I'm just going to clean the lugs. All right, that's looking clean. That ejector spring nice and taut. I'm just checking the ejector plunger here, and you can see there it's pretty springy. It's got some good tension going on there. The firing pin, it's stainless, so it shouldn't have too much crud built up on it. Should just be a quick wipe and off she goes. Yep. Now in an AR, this is actually where you'll get a lot of crud because this is where a lot of the hot gas ends up in an AR-15, but in this gun it doesn't, so it's not really much to do there either. Here's our cam pin. Let's just take a look at that. And those look like pretty normal wear patterns for what a cam pin experiences. So that's right where I would expect it to be with about 1,000 rounds of ammo through it. Now the bolt carrier looks kind of cruddy, but I think that's because I used too much oil on this thing. Like I was looking inside the action, and it looked pretty cruddy. I think it was just the oil. So if you put a lot of oil in your action, oil will attract dust and dirt and carbon and that kind of thing. So you don't want to oil where you don't have to. So I think I'm going to use less oil this time around with this bolt body and inside the action. Now we notice here some of the wear points that we would want to oil. Right at the back here, that's where it contacts the hammer to reset the hammer. So that needs to be oiled. All along the bottom here, that's also where it's dragging on the hammer. And this front here is where it's contacting the front of the receiver. You wouldn't really need oil there. I might put some on anyways. And then this angle right here, I'm not sure if that's where it hits on the receiver. But the place where it's absolutely critical for it to have oil is right on this track on the inside here, because that's where this cam pin kind of rides in to actuate the bolt. So that does absolutely need oil, and I'm just going to make sure I do a really good job of cleaning it. All right, just kind of swirled that on the inside of that bolt body. This bolt is ready to put back together, so I'm going to grab my firing pin spring, pop that guy on there, bolt and extractor. So I'm just going to very carefully put these together because I don't want that spring to bind or anything like that. I'm just going to put it very gently, look to that hole, see when it's aligned, push on it just a little bit, and then chuck that extractor pin in there. And I want to make sure it's flush so it's right in there. I'm going to test the springiness of it. Yeah, feels good. Next up, let's put it in the bolt. Now we want the ejection to happen on the right-hand side, so that's where the claw is going to go. So the claw is going to go on the right-hand side. Pop that guy in. There's the hole. We're going to stick the cam pin in there with the hole facing front and back. And then we're going to put our firing pin and spring both in there. And this is where we need to press that in, grab our split pin, and stick it in there. And it's split, so it doesn't really want to go in there. There it goes. And now it's in. Now, optionally, you could get something sharp in there and spread that split pin there just to really lock it in there. I haven't really had any issues with mine, though, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to make sure it's all the way in there and just confirm that we're getting the right kind of action here. Yeah, looks good. So I would say this is done. If I was going to re-oil this thing, I would re-oil just on that cam pin there, because that's where all the action's going to happen, really. And that might be it. Like there is a wear ring towards the front here, so I could put like a drop on there and then just kind of rub it all the way around. And really, I wouldn't do much else. Maybe a little bit on the bolt lugs here and the bolt face, and right on the bottom where I said to do before. That's it. You notice I'm just wiping it with my glove here. I've just got a little bit of oil on there. I don't need like to dollop it on there or anything. Again, I'm just looking for where there's wear, because that's where steel's making contact with steel. If I can just oil that a little bit, maybe it'll reduce the wear. And the bolt's done. All right, let's look at the upper here. So I'm going to remove the Allen bolts here. These are 5/32. There might be some metric thing to that as well, but I don't know. And I mean, you don't need to take them all the way off. You just need to loosen them. So they got a little bit of give. And the reason for that is they're actually just clamping down right here. So that space there is so that this can clamp onto the barrel nut. And then I should be able to just kind of wiggle this off. Now, if you notice that I had this wrap on here, that's because like when I was shooting this, I was getting carbon from the gas system on my hands. So here's the gas system, and you can notice that it's got some ports right there, and that's where my thumb was. My thumb was like right over top of that. So I'm hoping that this will stop some of that carbon from getting all over my hands. All right, let's take that gas piston out. So it looks like we've got a 1/4 inch drive on there. Let's see, I'm loosening. All right, let's get that on there. Holy crap. Ooh. Some pretty decent carbon seizing going on there. We should be able to just loosen off now. Yep. I don't know if there's going to be pressure on it or not. I'm just going to pull the piston back a little bit. There we go. And that piston's just going to come right out the front. So there's our gas piston out there, and there is our, I don't know what you would call that. Forgot to plug into my headset. I'm back now. Okay. And you notice here that this is a high temp Permatex. So I've used high temp thread locker on these to keep them in there. Now, these are only good to about 250 Celsius, and this gas block probably gets hotter than that. I might get my center punch and give those a quick little crack on the sides just to peen them in there. This does mean that it'll be really hard to get this thing off. But I think that's okay for what I'm doing. Other things I'm going to need to clean on this, I'm going to need to get into this receiver body and just give it a quick wipe down. This is where I really admit I over-oiled it, and that's what's causing all this gunk to kind of pile up. Now, if you don't have any specialty tools to clean the receiver extension out where the bolt lugs go in, you can fashion a quick little cleaner just using your pipe cleaners like this, and then just get in on those lugs. Now, ideally, if you've got some compressed air, this is also a great time to use that compressed air and blow that extension out, just to get any little brass chips or any carbon bits that you've loosened up out. Now, in terms of the lower, it shouldn't really be that dirty. It should be pretty clean. If you want to put it into fire mode, carefully hold that hammer and put it forward and just see underneath if there's any junk or anything going on. This is pretty clean. I don't think this needs to be cleaned. I'm just going to put that back on safe, and that's good to go. If anything, you might want to just throw a little bit of oil on that hammer just to make it go a little bit easier. Now, if I wanted to get aggressive, I would start cleaning some of the gas system parts. I would get in there with a brush. I would start scrubbing this kind of stuff off. I just don't think it's got enough ammo through it to really need to do any of that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to give it a real cursory. Oh, I can't even get in there with my pipe cleaner. I'm just going to give it a real cursory cleaning here. I just don't think it's really required at this point. If this got really, really crudded up, you might need to use like some Scotch-Brite or a brush or something like that to get some of that carbon off. But I don't see enough on there to warrant anything extreme like that. All right, why don't we start putting some of this stuff together? So first, I'm going to do the upper. Piston goes in through the back, or the front rather. Spring guy goes on there, and that's going to go right there. You can see that brass bushing at the back there. And this guy's going to go on the front. I'm just going to wiggle that so that that piston is fully in. Now I can turn this guy. Whoops, get out of the way. Now I can crank that guy on. That was pretty tight going on. Oh, I wonder if I should grease the threads. Nah. There we go. That guy's tightened on. And I just confirm that that's working correctly. And this is also where you can see the gas system operating. So gas comes in through a hole in the barrel, comes up here, pushes that piston back until right about there, and then it's letting the gases out from that hole, all four around here. So that's why you get that gas spray right at this point on the rifle. We're just going to gingerly put that fore end back on. Now, the trick way of doing this is to get an optic and just clamp it across both. That's the best way of keeping these two level. I don't have the space for it right now, so I'm just going to do it the quick way. I'm just going to visually inspect the two rail surfaces and making sure that they are aligned and flat, which is difficult to do in this lighting. There we go. And then I'm going to torque those screws back on. Now you're screwing into aluminum, so don't go He-Man Warrior on this kind of thing, because you'll probably strip out your aluminum on the other side. There we go. And what I mean by that is this is what you're screwing into right here, is the aluminum on this side. So it is pretty fat. It's a pretty chunky thread on there, but it is possible to strip it out. Oh, I'm nowhere close to level on those two. Let's try that again. They may move as you tighten them up. So just, again, that's where having an optic that bridges both of them is kind of nice. That's better. Did I just move them? Oh, I did just move them. Okay, I'm kind of supporting them both as I tighten it up. All right, I got the fore end back on. Next, to put the bolt in, it's a bit tricky because the bolt really wants to just compress in, and I need it to stay telescoped out. So what I'm going to do, it helps if you've got it at a downward angle. I've got the bolt pulled out, and then you need to very gingerly kind of feed it in there. And I think I've got it in. Now I want the bolt charging handle on this side, so I'm just going to rotate that around, grab my charging handle, and it goes. Now when you're feeding it down here, there's not really a lot guiding it, so chances are it won't want to go in. Oh, it went in that time for me. Okay, well, hopefully it's that easy for you. just take it easy, and it should go in. Next, let's grab our recoil guide rod and springs, put them on. Now, this is a personal preference. I kind of like the springs to be a little bit quiet. I don't like hearing the springy sound, so I like to just throw like a bead of oil along there. There we go. And then I'm just going to feed them through the bottom. Get them in the holes, and that part is ready to go. Next, we're going to put these two together, so I'm just going to line that front one. And then on the back, I'm just going to push that guy in. All right, I've got them in. Pushing down. Get in there. There it goes. Just ran the bolt a couple times. Let's put that pin in the rear. And now we're good to go. That wasn't so bad, was it? Now, the last thing to do, and now I'll take my gloves off, get a nice fresh towel, and anywhere I see that shiny oil where I had my gloves on and touch the outside, I'm just trying to get the oil off. I don't like getting gun oil on myself when I'm shooting. I don't think it's really necessary. So just towel it off real quick. The other things that you'll want to do is make sure that your mag's empty. Charge it up. Check your safety. Check your reset. and it feels like it's back to normal. So this guy's back ready to shoot another 3-gun match. Hopefully you found this entertaining or educational or one of the two of them. And that's how you clean a WS MCR. Thanks for watching.